I could have been doing something else. I should have been doing something else. There's many series I haven't gotten to yet. Comic books I need to catch up on. Actual audiobooks that I want to catch up on. Oh, why do I do it? And I knew this was going to happen. Like, I seen the first one, so I kind of understood where they were going with this. The first one wasn't good. I don't care what marketing we put behind this film, it wasn't going to work. And I still decided to waste my time today. That's 2 hours and 20 minutes I'm just not getting back. Today on Movie Talk Mondays, we're going to be talking about Joker 2. So in the start of this film, we get an animated sequence. The sequence is pretty much explaining the ending of the first film, pretty much how Arthur felt in this series of events that occurred, right? Then we get to real life. We're at Arkham and Arthur is being treated badly and it just didn't hit right. Like it wasn't, they wanted you to feel emotionally engaged with Arthur in the way he's feeling in this situation. And I feel like what they're asking for in this film is not what we're expecting at all from a Joker film. And that's a part of the problem. We have a disconnect on what we're trying to see here. This is not Joker DC film. This is what I said for the first Joker film. This is a psychological drama that they put on a DC film. And that's just, you're being ripped off from the start of this. Yes, Arthur Fleck was a character in DC. Yes, the Joker, Arthur Fleck did play the Joker in one of the DC comics, of course. But the storylines aren't matching up to where Arthur was the Joker in the DC films, or the DC comics, rather. What they're trying to get us to do is be engaged with this film as if this is the Joker's origin story, and that's not what this film is. And then after we find out about that in the first film, they try to claim that, no, this is just Todd Phillips' take on the Joker, so on and so forth. At the end of the day, it was a hustle. Like, there's nothing slick to a can of oil, my man. Like, we come from this street life. I know when I'm being hustled. In the first film, everybody was like, oh, it was great. It was good for what it was, so on and so forth. It's so different because this and that. No, that's not what we're here for. We're here for this origin story. And then you claim that it's not an origin story, that this is an Arthur Fleck story, and it has nothing to do with the DC universe. Cool. Don't put DC at the beginning of this film. Warner Brothers, I'm just going to say this right now. Do better. This film started with $200 million budget, right? The first film, I believe, was around a $60 million budget. Keep it in that realm. Because again, it's a psychological drama. This is not an action film. This is not a DC film. This movie started with a $200 million budget, and I believe right now it's sitting at about $40 million for the weekend box office. It's not looking good from this point on. Now, the first film supposedly made $1 billion, and I remember telling you guys a while back that I feel like that was BS. I feel like those numbers were inflated. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up, right? Working in this field for so long is like you kind of expect certain movies to make over $1 billion. And I know the impact that a Black Panther had back in 2018, an Infinity War in 2018, and Endgame in 2019. For this to come out in 2019 and make over $1 billion, and I didn't feel the impact, that's where the difference is here. Like it did make sense. And when we start to realize that movies and numbers are being inflated to make these things look better, we kind of come to an understanding of, all right, everything isn't real in that aspect. Like we're being told a lie, and you should be okay with that. But when it comes to films like this, there's like no action in it whatsoever. I wouldn't expect it to make $1 billion because that's just not how films move. I believe the closest film that made $1 billion that just wasn't like an animated or a family film was Oppenheimer. And honestly, I feel like those numbers were inflated a little bit, but that's just me. That's my conspiracy theory. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna go back to a term that was told to me like just recently. Actually, we just found out something about these comic book films, and I just read it like just a minute ago, and I want to get to that term in a bit here. So what the studios are going to start doing is putting together these super fan focus groups. So if you're a fan of these comic books, They're going to want you to watch these films before they release them. And I think that was the best idea that they can do, like, period. You're not going to please everyone, but out of those 100 people, if you get a good 70 that enjoy it, I think you should roll with it. Why? Because those 70 people are going to pretty much, they're pretty much telling you that it's good enough to please the comic book fans. Those 30 people were upset because it wasn't hardcore on every point of the comic book accuracy. And those, you're going to pretty much make up for those people that don't know anything about the comic book world. You're going to get them interested in it, and they're going to like that version of it. So I feel like that's a great move that the studios are starting to do now, because it only makes sense. Like, give the fans what they want, point blank period. If you're here to watch an action film and you throw in a drama series, you're going to feel a way about it. Although this drama series could be really good. I had this, it's kind of an analogy, right? So say if I told you you're watching Mortal Kombat today, and you come in and you're watching Power Rangers. Power Rangers could actually be a good film, but that's not what you were in the mood to watch. And I feel like that's what we got with the first Joker film. It's like, I thought we were watching this, and when we got there, it was something else. I don't know how to feel about it, so I'm going to just say it was okay, because it wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't bad in that aspect. So yes, Joker, the first film, wasn't horrible, but it wasn't a good film. And to call it a Joker film threw it off. Like, it just had nothing to do with it. They just attached the name to make money off of it. Whether it was $1 billion, that's up for debate, but that's all that was. It was a cash grab, and they got us. Plain and simple. And with Joker 2, it's showing people that, hey, maybe those numbers were a little skewed. Maybe people didn't like the first one as much as they said they liked it. That's what we're here for. That's why we're here, folks. That's what I do. That's what I'm here to save you from that. Like, I want to start being a part of these focus groups a little bit more. I have to start going into the city a little bit more and seeing these premieres. Just haven't had the time to do it as much. But this is what they look for in these films. And I just remember seeing Talk to Me. And it was about a month and a half before the film was actually released. So I don't know if they went back and edited anything. I don't remember too much changing about the film. But I know that it was the creator. I'm sorry. But Talk to Me, I did see about 45 days in advance. And they just wanted to get the crowd reactions. So just to gauge at what to expect when this movie came out. But the creator, I actually got to see it, I want to say 6-7 months in advance, and they were still in the editing process, and they wanted to get the crowd reaction of the film so far. And I just remember putting these things on there like, this doesn't work. Like, this is a sci-fi film, and you're telling these people this is a sci-fi film and we're going for emotion in this film. Okay, you're looking at a District 9 type audience. You're not looking at I don't want to say Star Wars, but it's a sci-fi film, like a Fifth Element type deal. You know what I'm saying? Because Fifth Element, yes, it has its emotional parts in there, but it's not really focused on that. It's focused on the action scene, the stuff that's going on behind the scenes with the other characters versus this emotional situation between these two characters. So that's what, if Joker would have came out a little earlier with the premieres for early showings, like I believe they came out Monday before the film dropped on Friday. If they would have came out with something 45 days before, with a budget like $200 million, they should have went back and changed some things. If they didn't like the crowd reactions at first, you should have went back, made things just a little bit better. Like, you can work on these things. And Warner Brothers is kind of like, at this point, they're pissing me off, because it's like, how do we spend $200 million on a Joker film, but we spend $68 million on Mortal Kombat 2? It makes no sense whatsoever. But this is what we're dealing with right here, guys. I just feel like these people don't know what they're doing in these positions anymore. They're pretty much just throwing shit at the wall and hoping that it sticks at this point. But we'll see. Joker, people try to say that it was bad because it was a musical. I like musicals, okay? And that's not the reason why the film was bad. It was bad because it was a bad film to begin with. It was a bad idea to begin with. The film was not comic book accurate. The film is not emotionally stable. they just throwing weird things in the film. Like one second you want to feel sad for him, and then the other second you hate him. You want that to be in there, and it's like it doesn't work that way. Like you have to gauge the audience of keep them engaged with what's going on in the film. It doesn't matter what the cop felt about him or this person over here felt about him. If we don't know how he feels about himself or what's going on in his world, we're kind of pulled out of this quote unquote origin lifestyle of Arthur Fleck. And that's what we got in this film. It was just a bunch of chaos. You're in Arkham, so of course you're going to have the comic book fans jizz all over themselves because you see an Arkham Asylum sign in the background. Like you can't get real, like, I don't even want to consider myself a real comic book fan. You just can't get people that actually are in the film and movies to get excited over little tidbits like that, little Easter eggs. Like that just doesn't get us at the end of the day if the movie is trash. It just doesn't work. All right. I'm gonna just leave it at that. Like, for this film to be 2 hours and 20 minutes, it dragged. Like every second felt like it was a minute. It was really bad. Like I was just waiting to get the hell out of that theater. I was like, is this movie over yet? Like I felt like one of my kids for a second. Like it was that bad. I just don't recommend you guys go watch it. If you guys have seen it already, I am sorry, but this film is just not it. I give this film a 1 out of 10. Like this is probably the worst film I've seen this year. And I seen Borderlands earlier, a couple months ago. Think about that. I'd rather watch Borderlands than Joker 2. It's that bad, guys. I'm sorry to tell you, this wasn't going to work. Warner Bros., you guys should have known this before going into this. You knew it was a cash grab. That's why you did it. Leave well enough alone. My mother used to tell me that all the time. Listen. You don't listen. Let's get into our next topic. Now, here I was going to talk about Agatha all along, but I need a little brightness in this tunnel. So we're going to talk about Power Book 2 finale. So this finale, first off, if you guys haven't watched Power Book 2 this season, you're not missing much, unfortunately. This was probably the worst Power season in ever. And I'm talking, that's including the original Power, Force, Kanan. Like, this was the worst season I've seen of Power. Like, it just didn't work. But that finale, I feel like they did their thing on the finale. They got me hooked. So I'm already invested into the series. I'm not going anywhere, unfortunately. And they told everyone that this is going to be a series finale. I didn't fall for that for a second. Reason being, Starz has really nothing to lose when it comes to that. They're not paying these actors a bunch of money. And on top of that, they don't have a much riding on their, when it comes to their series in the first place. It's not like Warner Bros. Where they have the Penguin going on. And by the way, if you guys haven't watched the Penguin, go watch the Penguin. I want to talk about that. I'm definitely going to talk about that once the series is over. But Penguin is actually a great show so far. I'm only 2 episodes in, but I'm 2 episodes in and it's great. So let's keep it there. Going back to Power, I just feel like Starz doesn't have anything that grasps it and for them to display to the world like we have these series. Like HBO has, which is Warner Bros., they have The Dragon. Why am I? House of Dragon. There you go. And the Game of Thrones, they have that. They can show people that. They have the Penguin now, and they have all the DC shows for the most part. They have one of my favorite shows that they don't have anymore, Ballers. They need to like create something in that realm again because that show was just phenomenal. But they had Winning Time. Like they have all these good series that they can show people that they mean business, and I just don't feel Starz has that, unfortunately. But and Power is like the only thing that they have that they can go out there to put on their resume and be proud of that is doing what it's doing, and it needs to continue because that's all they really have. So I tell you guys that to say if you guys are watching the Power, if you've gotten to Power Book 1, 3, and Force, of course go watch the Power Book 2 with Tyreek. It was a great finale. It just wasn't the best season. So do with that what you will. I definitely enjoyed the ending. I think they did a phenomenal job wrapping that up and going into some big things for next season. So hopefully they start getting this out more. One thing I have a problem with, I feel like these should be about, if you're going to do the summer, do the whole summer. Don't get a week or 2 break in there. Like they need to start stretching these out more. If you're going to do a summer, you're going to give us 12, 14, 15, episodes versus the 10 and trying to stretch it out through 3 months. Like that's just, it just doesn't, it works obviously, but it doesn't gain more fans. It kind of, you're kind of just losing people with it. And it's more at stake once you have 12 episodes. And again, I don't want you guys to milk these things, but you have to make people intrigued and invested. I just feel like 10 episodes just isn't enough. And by the way, about milking it, I feel like the last episode should have been at least 90 minutes, even a 2-hour finale. They could have made it. They definitely were rushing some things in there. And they could have put those in those other episodes where there wasn't too much going on and they could have got us to this point, but they didn't. We're here now. It is what it is. But if they can give us like 12 to 15 episodes a season, that'd be great. All right, let's go on to Agatha All Along. Disney Plus, you've done it again. You're making the worst series in the world. How do you do it? I just feel like people at Marvel just need to be let go at this point. Like the writers are terrible. This is what we went on strike for? Like, what the hell is going on? First off, I haven't seen a series from Marvel that I just wanted to tell everybody about. It's like, oh, you guys watching it? Yeah, it's cool. Or if you want to watch, if somebody else is watching it, you have a conversation with them. That's pretty much it. It's not like you're invested into these things because the series just aren't great, unfortunately. So I just feel like they have to do some rearranging, guys. Get some new writers in that writer room because this shit is just trash. Agatha All Along, trash. Just don't watch it. Don't waste your time. I am on episode 3 and I haven't seen anything good yet. What are we doing at this point? Actually, that's episode 4. It's been so terrible. Look at that. It's just bad. We have to start to understand that throwing little tidbits of things in these shows as the episode goes along, and it's like, oh, they mentioned Mephisto's name, we should be excited about it. It's back to those little Easter eggs that I tell you that they want you to jizz over yourself for. It's not necessary. Like, just make a good show. I don't even need to hear Mephisto's name. Nobody knows who Mephisto is. We haven't gotten into Ghost Rider. We haven't even gotten into Ghost Rider yet. Like, why are we rushing to this Mephisto name so much? We haven't gotten into X-Men at all. And I can't wait for X-Men. If they cast The Rock as Apocalypse, that'll be dope. Can't wait to see that. If it happens, it needs to happen. I already knew that the last Apocalypse thing just wasn't going to work. Apocalypse was a slave. The guy that was playing Apocalypse was white. Doesn't work out so well. Either way, one of the reasons why Marvel needs to just revamp themselves is just right now, it seems like they're trying to rush past this multiverse saga. And it's okay to just press restart right now. Like, I just feel like we're about to get Fantastic Four and it's about to go into a whole nother realm of just badness. And I'm going to talk about that on the Seez Monroe Show because that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Movie Talk Mondays. We're here to talk about these episodes of things that we've actually watched. We're going to get into that on the Seez Monroe Show. This is why. This is how my brain works. It's just Marvel, Agatha, we're here. All right? So back to the Agatha All Along thing. Yeah, they just need to do better. I can't wait till this shit is over with because it's just that bad, unfortunately. Marvel, we're too good for this. Let's do better. All right, I'm going to end this episode there. Joker, trash. Power Book 2. The season finale was phenomenal. They did a great job with it. As far as Agatha All Along, it's probably the worst show I've seen so far on Disney Plus as far as their series. And it's probably the worst Marvel show I've seen so far as well. So I guess WandaVision wasn't that bad if you're looking at Agatha All Along. They're just doing terrible things here, guys. And I just want them to be better because I want them to be better for my entertainment. If I'm paying my $19.99 a month, I need them to invest that into some great content, all right? If you can't invest it into great content, maybe you start putting your shows on the big screen. And that's how you get your money as far as from ticket sales. Help me, help you, help us in this situation, all right? I'll see you guys this week for the Seez Monroe Show. I'll holla. Peace.